In nation-states, telegrams, often abbreviated TGs, are a form of private communication between nations. In order to write a telegram, go to Telegrams, then hit New Telegram. What you're going to want to do is enter what you're going to want to say in the text editor here, and put any nations you want to address in the address box here, and when you're ready, hit Send. At any time, you can also hit Preview to check your formatting. Bold, italic, and underline are self-explanatory. The colored-in flag here is the nation tag, and the white flag is the region tag. If you want to link a nation or region, put the name within the tags. So if I wanted to put my friend Ghost, I could enter his nation name, Paleth, here. And then likewise, for the North Pacific, for the region, I could put the North Pacific here. And when I hit Preview, it will show you that these have been linked. If you don't want a nation's flag to appear, you can hit nation equals no flag, and this will edit that out. Likewise, if I wanted the full title of Paleth, I could put nation equals long, and when I hit Preview, this will put the full title. I could also combine the two and hit long plus no flag, and what this will do is it'll give you the full title without the flag. You can also use URL tags so long as the URL that you use is internal to nation-states. So I could do URL equals and then some internal to nation-states tab, and then I could hit, this is the FAQ, and close URL, keeping with the formatting of the previous two tags. When I hit Preview, this will give us a link. If I were to use a external URL, however, it would just put out the entire URL. And so if I want to use these longer URLs that are external to nation-states, I have to post them separately. And while that doesn't look as nice, it's just something that we have to live with. To send a telegram to multiple nations at once, all you have to do is add those nations in the above, separated by commas. So if I wanted to send it to Paleth, I would enter his name. And if I wanted to also send it to, say, Sawale, the current delegate, I could enter his name there as well. You can also add modifiers to this list to ensure that, say, for example, they're in the region when I send it, which for Paleth and Sawale is definitely going to be true, but let's say I were to add one of my friends that's outside of the region, Estradia, to this list, and then add the plus region, the North Pacific modifier. What this will do is it'll require that any nation that I send to is within the North Pacific, and because Estradia is not in the North Pacific, it will only be sending it to 2 nations. That's a pretty cool feature. One thing that you do have to be concerned with, however, is that you're following NS rules when sending telegrams. You can search the nation-states etiquette on Google to find what kind of content is prohibited. If you send mass telegrams, say, even if this were just to one person, but if I were sending it to, a ton of different nations, or if I were sending them for recruitment purposes or for campaign purposes, I would have to mark them as such. So to mark it as a recruitment telegram, I would hit this, and if it was for the North Pacific, I would keep it on the North Pacific. And what that'll do is when I hit Preview, it will add this Move to the North Pacific bar here. When, if a nation is outside of the North Pacific and they click this, it will actually move their nation to the North Pacific. This can be helpful for recruitment. If I pick just simply an organization, it won't put this bar in, and if I hit campaign, it also won't put that bar in. However, these are necessary tags to stay within the rules of the game, such that nations that do not want to receive these telegrams can avoid them in their preferences. If you plan on sending the same telegram over and over and over again, as you would perhaps while recruiting nations, you can create a Telegram template. What this will do is it will make it computationally lighter to send telegrams for nation states, and it can also provide you some useful statistics. So in order to create a Telegram template, what I do is I hit tag template, and that will send this text in the form of a template. Additionally, what I can use is I can use the @nation tag here, as I've just demonstrated, to add some level of personalization to the telegram. So I could address the nation at the top, and then have this text below saying something like, hi. I don't know. It's an example, all right? When I'm ready, I would hit send. Keep in mind that when you're doing a Telegram template, you never want to check this box down here, because the category of the template is taken care of by the fact that it is a template. So I'm going to hit send, and I'll say OK. And what this will do is it'll generate this template code. Keep in mind, I haven't sent a telegram to anyone yet in the game. This is simply sending it to nation states to save this telegram so that I can send it over and over again. To actually send it to someone, I would have to go back, paste this code in my text, and send it to someone in particular. Let's just say myself, for purposes of convenience. Okay. So again, I won't be hitting anything in this check mark because the Telegram template takes care of that. So when I hit send, it will wire it to a recipient, and hopefully I get it in just a second. So here it is. And remember how I put the @nation in there? Well, it translated it into my name. So I didn't have to specify that beforehand. I mentioned earlier that you can only send telegrams to at most 8 people at a time. You can exceed this limit by using telegram stamps, which can be purchased in the NationStates store. They cost $1 per 1,000 stamps. Stamps can be helpful with recruitment for a new region, as well as building support for a WA proposal. Stamps don't allow you to do anything that you couldn't do without paying for stamps, so it's not like it's a pay-to-win sort of scenario, but they do make your life much easier. The NS store uses Stripe for authorizing purchases, so I could hit buy with card here, and you would just enter in your information, and that would guarantee the purchase. One thing I will say is that Telegram stamps, and I cannot stress this enough, really aren't necessary for playing the game. I think in my entire history of nation states over the course of the last 5.5 years or so, I have probably spent about $15 on Telegram stamps, and that was only because I was getting tired of doing it myself on my own. But that's a personal decision, and you should never feel stressed to actually purchase anything from nation states. One thing that is, however, cool about Telegram stamps is that you can address a number of different groups on nation states by using it. So here's the special groups that you can use to reach with Telegram stamps. You can target regions, new nations, refounded nations, new delegates, current WA members, literally just all nations in the game, and then welcome telegrams for new nations that join your region. And the number here just simply says the number that you want to send. How many stamps do you want to spend on this? The number of stamps that are spent when sending telegrams to nations is 1 stamp per nation. Another thing that you can do is 1 year in your Telegram box, you can see that I currently have 3,690 Telegram stamps left over. You can see this history here will show you how many I have spent, when I have spent them, and when I have purchased them. So that's just a history of me as a nation. And And I believe I had 1,000 to begin with here, so that's why this was a little bit of a confusion. I was gifted the Postmaster, which I'll get to in a minute. When you send a mass telegram, you can go to your sent folder, and I've sent a couple of these lately. You can go to your sent folder down here, and hit delivery reports. And what this will do is it'll once again show you the telegram template here. Oh no, what have I done? Oh, keep clicking on random things. Okay, so it'll show you the telegram template code again. So if you wanted to send this telegram again to however many other nations, you could do so. It will then also give you the number that it has delivered and to whom. So this shows me that I have indeed received the telegram. In another example, so in perhaps this one, with the delivery reports, you can see that I have sent quite a number of them. 1,400 of them have been delivered. And out of that 1,400, only 32 people have actually opened and read the telegram. You can also see that 39 were blocked by category. This category being perhaps that the nation doesn't exist, or that they decided to block your telegram from being received by them. Stamps will be refunded when the telegrams they represent are blocked. However, in this case, I actually sent all these telegrams in blocks of 8 for the Home Affairs Ministry, which I will cover in a future video. To block incoming telegrams yourself, simply go to Telegrams, then Preferences. You can also reach this through the settings up here. And what you can find is that you can block different types of telegrams. You can block recruitment telegrams, campaign telegrams, any official telegrams coming from the region, or literally just any external telegrams, and you can block them in different proportions. I personally recommend only blocking the recruitment telegrams, as these can be quite irritating, but WA campaigns can be interesting, and official telegrams from the region can be quite important, and will notify you of upcoming elections, and events, and polls, and interesting things, including WADP awards and whatnot. So this, I would definitely recommend allowing all of them with recruitment, however you can choose. Additionally, you can decide to block specific nations. This can be done under the ignore list down here by clicking add, and then I could type a nation name to add to the ignore list. However, since no one has telegrammed me out of kind lately, I've only blocked 2 nations here. Telegrams that you send to other nations are permanently saved in your sent folder. Nations can only receive 20 telegrams though before their box becomes full. This is typically far more than necessary, but for particularly active nations, a larger capacity might be desirable. In order to acquire this ability, we go back to the NS store. You can purchase the Postmaster or Postmaster General, which will give you the ability to create folders, which will give you a lot more storage. You can also then sort telegrams that you've received into these folders, and because it includes supporter, it will remove ads and give you that warm, fuzzy feeling of supporting nation-states. I do want to give a quick shout out to my old friend Topsail Empire for gifting me my Postmaster subscription on my birthday some years back. I think it was technically in 2014. Unfortunately, he has since ceased to exist, CTE'd. But Topsail definitely changed my NS career significantly by that gift. I wouldn't have done it myself, but as a result, I became much more active on nation-states. So when you have the Postmaster, to add a folder, you go to your inbox here in this drop-down menu, and you scroll all the way to the bottom. You can see I've created a lot of folders, and you hit New Folder. And then here, you can just type some name, and I'll just make one right now. I'll type Executive Staff, because maybe I'm going to use that more for TNP now. And when I hit Create Folder, the folder is created. And I can find it now here. and there's currently no telegrams in it. If I went back out to my inbox, what I could do is say for Sawale's telegram, I can move it, and it will give me the list of all the telegram folders that I have, and I could move it to the executive staff, or perhaps TNP is more reasonable. And by doing that, it won't be in my inbox any longer, but instead, it will be transferred to TNP, which you can see here. So here's the message. It's arrived. When you move telegrams to folders, this will save them from being deleted. And if you run out of space in your inbox, old telegrams will be permanently deleted, as is warning me right now. It always has this warning for me because I have quite a few telegrams in my inbox. When replying to a telegram that has been sent to you, simply hit reply, okay? And you can type anything you want. And then if you say send to, this will only send to the author of that post, to the author of that telegram. But if you have send to all, it will send it to both people who are attached to it, or as many as there are attached to it. These are critically different, and you should know the difference and be aware of the difference because it can matter, especially in diplomatic situations. When you reply to a telegram, it will create a telegram chain, such that, for instance, when it says thanks Fiji here, I can hit this in reply to and see what he was responding to, what I could have possibly said to make him so pleased with me. But I'll keep that private for the sake of our mutual conversation. Anyway, that's about it for telegrams, folks. I do know that scripted telegrams are also a thing, but I'm not going to cover that in this video. I do hope this was helpful. And remember, you're listening to NBS. Thanks so much for listening.